Hi everybody, Robyn Ivy. I wanted to talk to you guys this morning about something I've been considering for the better part of last year, which was inner leadership. It's not something that people had ever really spoken to me about before, but as I was moving through my own transition last year, I thought a lot about what it takes as a person to be able to move yourself from one thing to the next, right? You hear a lot of people talk about moving the needle or getting to the next chapter or turning the page or whatever, but a lot of times people don't talk about what that actually means and what that asks of us. What I found for myself was that it really asked of me to be able to identify what part of me was getting in the way of me showing up, of being clear, of taking action. And at the end of the day, what I came up with was that it was a matter of being able to really identify when I'm in my inner leader and when I'm in my inner victim. Those are the words, the languaging I chose for it. In my mind, it's really like a circle. I kind of just was reverse engineering and watching myself through the past year as I struggled with some difficult things, trying to shapeshift my life. And one of the things I just kept coming to was when I tracked the times and the days and the ways that I was making progress or taking action or moving that needle, inevitably, I was in a feeling state where I felt more empowered, where I felt more confident, where I felt more engaged, and where I felt alive and a sense of leadership in myself. So sometimes I would notice, for example, I would ride my Peloton bike, and before I got on the bike, I was feeling like I don't even want to get on this thing, right? I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. You go to the gym, you don't really feel like going, you get out of the gym, and now you have all this energy that you didn't have before, right? And now you have this motivation to go and conquer something that you might not have done before. And I realized for myself that it just kept, anytime I was unmotivated or lethargic or not able to step into that leader in me, it was inevitably because I was in some sort of negative feeling state. And I don't say negative or positive as if like better or worse, but really rather just identifying which group of emotions, which group of thoughts were taking me to a place where I was unable to take action or see what was possible for myself. And I kind of came to the conclusion that for me, I'm like a circle, and that half the stuff in that circle is a negative feeling state or a negative thinking state. It could be depression, it could be fatigue, it could be confusion, it could be boredom, it could be lethargy, right? Like any of those things, to me, they live on one side of that equation. And if I'm in that feeling state or thinking things that put me in that feeling state, it was almost a guaranteed inactive thing, and I would not be able to move the needle the way I was hoping to. And then I noticed on the days where I did ride the bike and would have that energy afterwards, or I would hang out with an uplifting person, or I would read something positive in a book, anything that I chose to do that would get me into a more positive feeling space inevitably led me to greater action and greater permission to take action, which helped me then understand that if I'm really either in one state or the other, right? I'm either in this positive state or I'm in this negative state. And when I'm in that negative state, I'm not moving the needle, I'm not taking the action, I'm not clear. When I'm in that positive state, I am. And so I realized for myself that a huge part of this work about leading a life that you want and creating a life you want, a huge part of that is about taking the agency and learning to identify which frame of mind you're in at any given time. And knowing that if in that moment, if what you're trying to make happen in a day, if it's action, if it's implementation, if it's cold calling people, if it's doing something scary, it inevitably needs you to be in that state of inner leadership.